Okay, so this is going to be the second part of my interview I had with Overkill. Again, I definitely had a lot of fun talking with him. Definitely got a lot of information on his perspective on VTubing and other things that I've asked him in this interview. But yeah, definitely had a lot of fun talking with him again. As always, I do hope I get to bring him back in here again to ask him about other things that I probably will come up with later on again in the future. But yeah, I guess I hope you guys enjoy the second half of this interview I had with him. Have you ever raged in a video game before?
Have I raged in a video game? Yes. And I know exactly which game it was. It was Kingdom Hearts 1 for the PlayStation 2.
Really?
And yes, and let me explain. So when I was a kid, I first started playing Kingdom Hearts 2 on the PlayStation 2.
Mm-hmm.
I played it once, had a good time, and then I played it on the hardest difficulty, and it was called Pride. And basically, I'm not gonna spoil anything because there's gonna be a lot of people who probably would like to play it. Even though the game is like X amount of years old. But there's this one part where you have to fight a major character in the world Hollow Bastion, which is like the second last world of the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
And the rage part wasn't really the fight itself, but it was actually the cutscene before you start the fight. And the reason why is because that cutscene is 5 minutes long.
Oh god.
Yeah, and not only that, but also the fight itself is like pretty difficult because you don't have much room to dodge like any attacks, and you're locked in essentially in the octagon. Like essentially, this main character is just looking at you, going like, "You ain't going nowhere. I got you for 3 minutes." Like that, it felt like that for my little kid mind. So. Yeah, and like you go through this fight, you get bodied because it takes like maybe 2 hits and you're dead.
Right.
And every time you die, you go right to the save point. You have to cross a hallway, and then you gotta watch a 5-minute cutscene.
And it's unskippable?
Single time. Yeah, and it's unskippable because it's the PlayStation 2. They did fix this in the remastered version for the PlayStation 3 and then onward, but the PS2 version 1, you could not skip that cutscene, and I forever have like stuck in my brain, just like it's just the character Sora going, "You will never take Kyrie's heart." Every single time that cutscene is singed in my brain for the rest of my life because, like, it took me 15 to 20 tries to get that boss fight, like to finish it, and I think around like the 10th try, I just straight up turned the console off and I didn't pick up Kingdom Hearts for like about a month until finally I got back to it and I finally got past it. But you guys do the math, okay? Like, what's 15 times 5? 5 minutes.
I'm not good with math. 75?
That's 75 minutes.
So almost an hour and 30 minutes, I want to say.
Yeah. So it's about like an hour and like 15 minutes. But keep in mind, that's just for the cutscene. Like,
oh god,
the amount of times I had to retry, that is an hour and 15 minutes of me watching the same cutscene over and over and over again. And then you got the actual boss fight itself, which already takes like an additional 3 to 5 minets.
And if you fuck up, it ends up very, very fast, and you're
so
back.
Essentially, I spent like 3 hours on that thing, and my like, I think it was like 10 at the time, or I might have been like 11, I don't know, but yeah, I was just like, I am ready to throw this controller like out the window. Like I can't stand listening to the same cutscene over and over again. And that was the first time I ever like actually raged at a video game.
Have you broken a controller because of it or no?
No. I listen. Controllers are expensive. Like, throughout my entire life, controllers are expensive. I only have one,
God.
Yeah, I'm not breaking it. I do know people who have broken controllers, and there was one other occasion where I almost did. And it was when I was playing Mario Party.
Oh, which one?
So to kind of put it in perspective, I think it was Mario Party 6. I can't remember it. I remember the map. It was like a downtown-esque map, and then there were like boos spread across the map. Like there was like 3 spots where you can like visit Boo, and you can steal like stars and coins.
Oh.
And yeah, like I can't remember for the life of me. Like I kind of erased that part of that memory from my brain because of just how rage-inducing it was. Because I was playing with. It was me and 3 of my friends from college, and we were just hanging out, playing Mario Party, and you know, we're just chilling and whatnot. And I was actually doing really well in that game. Like I think I was like 5 stars ahead. Like I was just dominating. And then and I was like 2 turns away from like actually finishing this game, and I thought it was completely over. Like, you know, I won this game. Okay, we can just move on, whatever. And then in the next turn, friend 1 manages to get to Boo, steals a star, so that's 1 star down. I'm now 4 stars ahead. Second friend goes ahead and steals another star. Third friend steals another star. I'm now 2 stars ahead. Okay, it's no big deal. I go ahead and make my turn. I land on a Bowser space. I lose a star too. So now I'm 1 star ahead. I'm like, okay, we're just 2 turns away. Like, there's no way I can lose this game. There's no way. And then we go through the next mini game, and then it's the final turn. And then friend 1 lands on a chance space, which, if you don't know what that means, it means is that you're able to go ahead and change, like, you know, like who has like how many coins, who has how many stars. Like you can switch like items. And guess what he landed on? Swap stars. In 2 turns, I lost a 5-star lead, and the room that we were playing this game on, it was like a final floor. I had the controller like low to the ground because like we were sitting on a sofa, but like I dropped it like forcefully, and I had like a full-on Aaron Hansen style rage where I'm just like, "Are you being serious right now?" And he just looks at me. He's like, "Are you actually mad? I'm mad right now." Yeah, and just going like, "What? It's only just Mario Party on. It's only Mario Party on GameCube." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I got so mad. I didn't talk to him for like 2 days.
Oh God.
Well, yeah, because like I got so heated, and I don't get heated that often.
No, yeah, you're like a very chill guy, so thinking of you being very pissed off is crazy.
Yeah, like it was the most brutal Mario Party match I've ever played.
Well, what about, because I know you played some Mario parties with people today or recently. Have you ever gotten pissed off from that, or has it just been like a very smooth match where you barely lost a few?
I mean, these days, like whenever I play Mario Party, like I just expect that like someone out of these 4 people is gonna get screwed over, and chances are you could find out in like the first like 5 turns. Yeah, so I usually don't get that mad when it comes to Mario Party. I mean, there are times where I'm just like, okay, yeah, if I know that like everyone is just blatantly targeting me, like, and only me, then that's when I'm like, okay, I see how it is. We're gonna play this game? Okay. Gloves are off. Like, I'm locked in.
I mean, usually whenever they target somebody, it's either because they're really good or they just love the reaction that they get whenever they get pissed off.
Oh, yeah. Like, I mean, I've seen it all the time, like, whether it's like a Shoujo collab to like, you know, just I see, you know, friends of mine playing Mario Party. Like, it's fun to see the reaction.
And if you're streaming or recording it, it makes good content.
Yes, it does.
So actually, one thing that you brought up a while back was drawing. What actually made you decide to pick up a pencil and start drawing? Because over time, you've gotten really, really good at your drawing.
Oh, well, thank you. So what made me start drawing? Well, uh, truthfully, like the reason why I actually started drawing initially was because I just wanted to get to a point where I would be able to like make my own like assets for like not just for like VTube Studio, but like to just to make graphics like for like my social media stuff. So like for Twitter, for YouTube, and like if I wanted to, I could do thumbnails. But then it kind of slowly evolved to more like just for me to just get out of my own head and then just draw for the sake of drawing. Yeah, but again, like back to the initial reason, like a big problem that I was actually running into was whenever I would get like a commission for artwork, I had a very difficult time of trying to describe like how I wanted something to look.
Oh yeah.
So like whenever it came to like doing a possible like model design or like how to do like a pose or something like that, like I can do reference art from like Pinterest, but the problem is that sometimes it's not exactly like what I'm looking for. And that's why like I started picking up drawing, because it's like, oh yeah, like I really like this clothing aesthetic, and then like I just make it look like that, and it could just be a rough sketch, but then I take that rough sketch to like the artist I commission, and then they're just like, oh yeah, I get it, like that makes perfect sense. So yeah, and so I started drawing, and I felt like it helped me provide a better way to like show artists like what I want, and it makes it easier for them, it makes it easier for me, and yeah, and also like it's just a really good like pastime, like just to get my head out of like the computer for a little bit, and I can just like just have a side hobby. Plus I also like to draw anime booba.
I mean, I remember how you just discovered that you could make boobs just by drawing a heart and then going around after that.
Yeah, I asterisk, like it works on some angles, but yeah, like it did like just blow my mind, like when I saw that one TikTok where someone's like, oh yeah, you could just do this. and I remember I think it was like early, it was like 7 a.m, like when I found out, and I just went to Twitter. I'm like, you mean to tell me I've been drawing for how long and this is how you're supposed to do it? Yeah, it's crazy.
Since you're still new at it, what was something that you found difficult while drawing? Like, what were some things that you heard people say that you actually found out were actually true when you started to do it?
Hands.
Oh yeah, they are
hands, and like the top one is hands. The second one is perspective, so like that would be like angles like with like the chest and the face. And third is eye placement.
Oh yeah.
Specifically, just trying to like get the eyes to match up, so then that way they don't look cross-eyed, because that is always a problem that I run into, especially like if I'm drawing in a sketchbook, where if I have it sketched out, it can be great, but then as soon as I bust out the ink to go ahead and trace over it to make it nice and clean, if my line is slightly off with the pupils, the iris, or anything part of the eye, it can ruin the entire thing. And, yeah, and that makes me nervous every time.
And I found out that some people who, I think not a few, but most have tried where they do an actual reflection where it actually mirrors on the opposite side. So instead of just doing one eye specifically and then trying to do the other one where it could just look like Sid from Ice Age, it actually helps out when you're just actually doing both sides into one line, if I'm describing that right.
Yeah, no, I get it. But for me, like the way that I started drawing eyes is I'll go ahead and I'll get like the head shape right, and then the next thing I'll do is like I'll do like 2 lines that go in the same direction, like of the pose. Like you just gotta make sure that those lines curve just right around the object, and then between those 2 lines you then draw like the the outline for your eyes. So like it could be like the actual shape. So like with my eyes, for example, you may notice they kind of look like parallelograms, or I guess like trapezoids. Because notice how like the left side and then the right side of like each eye, it kind of goes outward about 45 degrees, and then it just kind of goes straight across like at the bottom and the top. Yeah, like that's how you can draw like different eye placements. Like you can make like a circle, you can do like a parallelogram, you can do a trapezoid. Like you got to make sure it fits between those two lines. And then once you have those outlines done, you then take your pencil and then you just put 2 dots and make sure that like you draw around those 2 dots to make sure that the eyes look like they match, so that way they're not being cross-eyed, if that makes sense. Like there's a ton of art tutorials that will tell you this. So
it's I mean, because with PewDiePie, he actually has done videos where he actually starts drawing literally every day, and you can see that if you practice literally every day or whenever you have the chance, you can actually improve instead of just doing what people do with AI, where they just steal all their artwork or styles from people and just do that crap.
Yeah.
And like I was just gonna say, like, for me, I sort of got into an accident where I hit my head on concrete as a kid, and then that same day I just learned how to pick up a pencil and start drawing, which is crazy that I've done that. And the same thing happened to my sister, where she got hit by a truck and then somehow learned to draw as well. Well, she does it better than I do, but it's crazy that you could either have an accident or practice doing it, and then you'll get good at it.
Oh yeah, like it's just a matter of like, just practice like over and over again. For me, like I kind of fell into a very similar trap to like who you mentioned, PewDiePie did, and that was he ran into a trap where he was like drawing like the same type of like character like model like over and over again, and I kind of fell into that as well, where it's just like, oh yeah, like you're drawing like female characters, or you're drawing just nothing but male, and that's all you know how to draw. And yeah, and I kind of fell into that same issue. So now I'm just trying to expand outward and just see like what I can work with. And VTubers is absolutely a great way to like actually just get motivation to draw stuff like outside the norm, because you could draw like a standard like human character, like that's fine, but like drawing like characters with like very interesting characteristics and try to mix it in, that's a different level.
Yeah, it's like for me, I wish I could commission somebody to make me a model, but I just decided to actually draw one just as a substitute for now. But I think I'm gonna stick with it for now. I do want to plan on upgrading it or just making it a little bit more better, because I like it, but I also want to change it up a bit, because after a while I start to notice some things where I messed up or I could have improved, or I forgot to fill in some colors. But with you I want to say, like, what made you decide to be or to choose the AI VTuber theme?
Oh, okay. So the reason why I chose the AI theme was because I am a huge fan of the premise of a cyberspace-esque like world, almost. I've been a very big fan of like not just cyberpunk but also just like retrowave, and I feel like those two kind of get mixed together a lot, but even though there is technically a difference. But for me, like, I'm like, the thing that really got me into like this character design was because like I'm a huge fan of the movie Tron Legacy. It's easily like one of my favorite movies, like just off of a story point, like a story presence. Like because like I just like the idea of just like, oh yeah, like what if you just have like a world like inside like of cyberspace, and and that's where and it's just like our world, but it's like in a much different like tone.
Right.
And also like Cyberpunk has also been like a real big draw for me as well, where it's just like, you know, you have like all these enhancements. It looks really cool. I love the futuristic style. It looks so good. Yeah, but also like just like the punk aspect, like that's where like initially like that was where my character kind of started to fit a little bit more, because the reason why that I made my character the way it was well, the initial premise was kind of based off of the same way that they made like the movie The Iron Giant, which was which if anyone doesn't know, in The Iron Giant, the writer for it, or I think the director, he basically put it down to a simple sentence, and it was, what if a gun didn't want to be a gun? Right? And for me, I'm a sucker for like keep it simple, stupid. So when I was coming up with like the design, I'm just like, well, yeah, so I kind of want to try that. Like, let's apply that same method. So when I came up with Switch, I was just like, well, let's see. Like, I really love the cyberspace aesthetic. I love, you know, cyberpunk as well. Like, I think that fits really well. So what would be the equivalent of like a gun that doesn't want to be a gun? So I'm like, well, I also like the sentient AI thing. So, what would be the equivalent of that? And then I thought, well, wait, my name already is Overkill_Switch, and the reason why it was that I named it that way was because originally it was supposed to be Kill Switch, but everyone kept taking that name, so I made it that way. So it actually says Overkill Switch, so that way I can have Overkill and Kill Switch at the same time. but then I looked at it and I'm just like, Overkill_Switch. So how would that fit? And then I realized it kind of sounds like a path name, like that you would type into like command prompt or like a DOS thing.
Oh.
Yeah. So then I was like, well, wait, what if I named him like his full name is Overkill_Switch, but then he just decides to pick up the name Switch because he wants to be himself. And then it was a matter of like, well, how would like what would Switch do? And then it came down to, oh, well, you know what? Like, he wants to be a content creator, so why does he want to do that? It's like, well, because maybe he got sick and tired of doing like, you know, his previous work, like that he was originally supposed to do. And then it just came down to, what if, like back to the Iron Giant thing, just going, well, wait, so what if his job was, he was supposed to like moderate content like that was going in and out of online, but then he started watching like, you know, all the videos, like all the shorts, the funny streams that were happening, and then realized, yeah, you know what, this job sucks. Like I rather like just make content and like just have fun with it instead of just like being teased with like, you know, what other people are making, and I want to make my own thing. And I feel like it best like represents like what I'm doing like IRL, because that is kind of like how it went down, where it's like, you know, I'm doing a regular like, you know, day job, like I'm doing like all this other stuff, but I'm seeing other people that I look up to that are making magnificent content, doing really cool shit, and I'm just like, yeah, you know what, I kind of want to do that. So, and that's kind of like why I went down that route. Granted, it's not the best lore. Like me personally, I kind of want to try and improve upon it and like actually sit down with someone who's way better at writing. But yeah, but again, I don't really pay too much attention to lore. Like I just really wanted to at least nail down that, oh yeah, I like my character is in a cyberspace setting like Tron, and I kind of want to like expand upon that. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, then I'm wondering, what happens if I click both of your eyes? Do you shut off or what?
No, ask Zen about that. No, but a funny story about the eyes thing. So when I initially got started making the model, I reached out to my artist on Fiverr, and and we were in like the initial planning stages where it's just like, okay, yeah, like I wanted to do like this setting, I wanted to, you know, have like this style of clothing, I like this color palette, etc., etc. And then we came up with the idea together of just like, oh yeah, like how about like to make it more unique, like we add like the power logo like irises. And I'm like, yeah, you know what, that's actually a really cool idea. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And then around like, I want to say 2 or 3 months later, Zen Treya announced that she was going to be doing a major announcement for a re-debut. And I was just like, oh, okay, well, I didn't know much about it, and you know, it was a very big deal, so they weren't going to expand upon it. And then I got my concept art, it looks great, and then I go ahead and I go to my model artist and you know, pay for the commission to get it done. And then I think like 2 days later, I see on Zen's channel the advertisement for her Cyber Dragon model debut. And then I notice the eyes, and I'm just like, fuck. Because I'm like, yeah, so it was literally just pure coincidence. Because the references that I originally picked for my model was for so I like the color palette from this one character named I think his name was Niku from The World Stops With You. It's a DS game like from Square Enix.
Oh wait, I think I actually know.
Yeah, like he has like the purple-esque aesthetic, like wardrobe. Like it looks really good. Yeah, and yeah, so I went with the color palette from him, but I also really liked Bato's design from Ghost in the Shell, like with his eyes, and that's how like me and the concept artist we came up with the idea, and then we went with that. But little did I know that this isn't technically the most original idea, because a lot of people, not just Zen, have done this. So yeah, so it was a very awkward like series of circumstances.
I actually do want to because I don't really have an idea of what my model is specifically, but over time, before this interview, during the week, I was thinking of something, because I think some people tend to make their model of what stuff that they like with you, with Cyberpunk, and then Tron Legacy, or just Tron specifically.
Yeah.
I kind of came to the conclusion that I love lo-fi music, like the Lo-Fi Girl, and then recently The Boy. So then I think now I'm just going to be a lo-fi VTuber, though I do want to change up my model, like because in real life I wear a beanie. I love wearing a beanie because, one, I live in Florida, so the humidity sucks ass, and my hair, I've tried to find different products to stop it, but my hair always frizzes up that it gets super annoying that I have a beanie to cover it. So I'll just make my VTuber as a lo-fi version of myself with the beanie, because this cap and this jacket thing was sort of a on the moment kind of thing that I came up with. So I do want to change it up, and plus trying to figure out how to draw a beanie is a lot more harder than I thought it was when I first came up with the idea. So hopefully I can.
Yeah, like.
Go
ahead.
No, sorry.
Sorry, the latency. Yeah, like character creation is definitely like a very difficult thing to like actually nail down, because wait, where the heck is my mouse? Sorry. Oh, okay, found it. I couldn't see it.
You're good.
But yeah, like character creation is very difficult, because like just trying to come up with like a custom design, like, you know, reference art does help, but like but I definitely have moments where I'm just like, I want to change something, but I don't know what to change, but I feel like it needs to happen. And yeah, but I just learned like over time that, you know, like when it comes to like coming up with a design for something, like you just can't rush it. Like you just gotta let it come to you, and then when you have an idea of like something that would be cool for your design, then that's when you write it down. Like what I'm saying is if you think of something cool or something funny, write it down.
Yeah, it'll definitely save you the headache trying to remember things, because I have a drawing app on my phone, so I still have it all saved up for me to get back onto it later on. But it's been a hot minute since I've jumped onto it to fix it, so hopefully I should have the time to get back on it to fix it. But for me, I'd say trying to think of a name is a bit more difficult, especially with me. I'm not good with coming up with names, especially on the spot, so I just kind of went with whatever I had. And I think, trying to figure out what to, I guess, put the clothing on, or let alone trying to design a model, is also tough to do, because you don't want to copy somebody or be labeled as stealing their stuff. Because I remember with Shy Lily, there was a person who, I think it came out that the person who did it, I could be wrong, she accidentally copied, or actually fully copied her model, that she kind of got called out for, that she had to change it up. Or with Zen, I forget the other VTuber, I think it was her I think it was either her cowboy outfit or something else, where people were saying that she stole it from some other VTuber, which was totally by accident. Then they talked it over on the DMs to clear everything up, because it was totally an accident. And I can see why some people could say that she stole it, which was never the case. Because again, trying to figure out something is going to be tough, because you don't know if someone else already came up with it, or if it was ever new, because some people could definitely change things up. Like, they could take one small piece from this person, another piece from that person, match it up together, and then they got something new.
Correct. Like, for me, like, the best way to like try to like have something that's more original, at least when it comes to a character model, is I try to base it somewhat like off myself, because people in real life, every single person is unique in their own way. Mm-hmm. And I think, and that's both like, just physically and like personality wise, like everyone is like very unique. Everyone comes in all shapes and sizes. Mm-hmm. Like, and I think applying a little bit of that and to like other aspects that like you want to like add to it, I think it does make it more original. And honestly, like, and this is kind of a gray area in my opinion, but when it comes to like using references like of other designs and then like putting it together, you like, it's 100% okay to like take one aspect of a character or a streamer that you like, and then take another aspect of something else, and then you put it together to create something new. That's fine. It's just there are just moments though where it's like, it's very difficult to tell that like if you are copying someone. And I think with that Shy Lily one, that was a case of like, well, the outline for the whole character model, like it looks almost identical to Shy Lily, and again, I'm not gonna like get into this too much, because like I have no say in this matter. But like for me, like I just looked at it and I'm like, okay, yeah, the outline looks very identical, so it does seem like a little bit sus. However, if like the inside of that outline is like completely different, like the way that the model moves, the way that like the actual details like of the character's face and the hair, like, then that's fine. Because like, because I've seen so many people like with the Shy Lily-esque like ears like on the head, like I've seen that before. I mean, heck, like Megalodon, another streamer that I watch, like she has like a very similar look on some of her models to Lily, but everything else about her model is different. So that's why I'm like, okay, yeah, so she obviously could have taken inspiration from Shy Lily, but she only took like one aspect and then ran with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just you can absolutely like, you know, take inspiration and like take one cool aspect and then run with it. Just don't do it too much.
Right. It's literally the meme. Can I cheat off your paper? Sure. Just don't do the exact same thing, or the teacher will get suspicious.
Yeah, I mean, it's no different than like with drawing, where because like sketching, you know, artwork is considered frowned upon when it comes to learning how to draw. But there is a caveat to that though, and that is, like, you can trace for practice, and you could show off that, like, oh yeah, you practice, but you cannot say that it is your original work.
Right.
Now, if you are looking for a pose for artwork
That's
that you thought was pretty cool, yeah, you can take the pose, like, and do it. Like, you just gotta, you know, but for me personally, and this is my personal judgment, I can use the pose, but I don't want to take anything else. I just want the pose, and then I'm gonna apply my own assets, like, you know, of different characters I want to draw and put them in that same pose.
Yeah, and I've seen artists do that too, where they would get an inspiration from a cosplayer or from a model. They just use that pose that they've done, and then they add their character or just some character that they like doing.
Yeah,
the
I mean,
exact same
heck, like the pose that's in my profile picture, like right now, it's literally the pose that Dio makes in JoJo Part 3.
Oh, really?
Like when they take the photo, yeah, like, you know, the hand up, like, and looking behind over the shoulder.
Yeah, okay, I see that now.
Yeah, you see, like that's a classic example. Like, I took that pose. I didn't draw it personally. The artist I commissioned did, but yeah, like, we just took the pose and that's it. Like, that's all I did.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, it's always crazy to see that kind of stuff going on with the community. What else? Well, then, speaking of which, since you're still newish, how was it difficult to get into your current spot that you are now versus how you were in the very beginning?
Well, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you. It was very, very difficult. Mostly because when I first got into streaming, I thought I was going to grow much faster than I thought. Like, I actually had like a list of goals, and one of my first goals was like, oh, I'm gonna make it to like 1,000 followers on Twitch, like on my first year. I'm gonna get like X amount of subscribers on YouTube, like et cetera, et cetera. Like, that's the goal I wanted to reach. And I did make the YouTube goal. However, I didn't even come close to the Twitch one. Like, I think as of right now, I'm sitting at like mid 300s. But that's beside the point. The point is that like, I was making a terrible mistake, and that was I was consistently looking at my YouTube analytics, my Twitch follower count, like almost every single day, and that is such a taboo thing that people do. Because yeah, like, it's just that type of behavior will put you in a funk, and it caused me to burn out like multiple times.
Oh yeah, it sucks that I'm also sort of doing that now, specifically because every now and then, after I post a video or I'm about to share it, I stupidly decide to look at the past videos that I post, and depending on how it goes, I'm either a bit bummed out that, let's say, a day has passed and there's no views, or maybe just one view. I'm a little bummed out, but I always have to like push that away just to keep on doing what I'm doing, because yeah, that's just one video, but that doesn't mean it's gonna be like that with the rest of them, because sometimes what I play is usually for like nostalgia purposes. Like, currently I'm playing Metal Gear Solid 1 because I've never played it at all. I've never really had the original PlayStation until I got a PlayStation 2. But I'm also going down the line of that kind of games because they seem fun, and those are the types of games that I want to play and say that, yeah, I've beaten it. Same thing with Shadow of the Colossus. I've seen the Game Grumps play it, that I also wanted to play it. And sometimes it'll be a childhood game that I've played that I love playing every now and then just to go back into it, like with Conker's Bad Fur Day, Donkey Kong 64, or Killer Instinct on the Super Nintendo. And that's what I want to pretty much go after, just like old games that people either loved as a kid or they never really got to see it because it was never in their radar.
Right. Yeah, and for me, like I actually got this advice from another VTuber that I watch. Her name is Pumpkin Potions, and she gives like really good advice with stuff like this from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I'm not saying that, you know, people should just outright not look at analytical data if like you're looking to grow, because it is kind of impossible, like both like voluntarily and also forcefully, because like whenever someone makes a project like a video or a short, like yeah, like as soon as you put it up, like it's just that curiosity of like, oh, I gotta know like what's going on with it, like all the time. But also like there are times where it's like, yeah, you know what, I'll just occasionally look at it. But the thing is that it's important to keep tabs on like your growth from time to time, but you just can't let it consume you. So usually what I do now is if I release a video, like yeah, I'll look at it for like after the first hour, and then like I'll wait 24 hours, I'll come back to it, I'll look at it again. But then like after that, I'm just not letting it like consume me, and then like after a couple days, like I'll probably look back at it again, and then I'm just like, okay, so why did this video not do well? And the reason why that I do it this way is because, well, I get a lot more feedback from YouTube after a couple days, because they're just like, oh, well, you see, your video dropped off at this point. I'm like, okay, well, why did it drop off? And then that's when I like do a deep dive, I look into it. And the same thing with streaming too. Like, for instance, like when I first started, one thing that I used to do was I would only talk for like 30 minutes, and then I would go ahead and I start playing a game, and then after I was finished, I would end stream, and then that'd be the end of it. But I look at the analytical data, and there are times where I'm like, well, wait, how come I'm only getting like 2 views like with this stream versus like this last time I streamed? And then that's when it occurred to me, a lot of people are staying for the just chatting portion, but then as soon as you turn on the game, everyone shuts off because either they've already seen that game being played, or I'm just not interacting with chat as often.
Right.
You know, or both. And it's just like little things like that where it's like, okay, if I make this small adjustment, this could probably like work even better. But even then, I'm not going to let it consume me. I'm just going to keep it in the back of my mind, and then, you know, try to apply it the best I can. And also, since we're on the topic, and this is actually a piece of advice for anyone who's starting off as a VTuber. There is this thing that happens, and this happens every time someone does a 1.0 debut for their model, and I call it the honeymoon phase. And what this is picture this. So you have a model that you want to show off, and you want to start your streaming career. Congratulations. So you're building up the hype on social media, like you're doing like the teaser trailer, like you're showing off like little bits and parts of your model, and you're gaining followers like before it starts, like maybe even some viewership of like people like joining your Twitter and whatnot. And then finally the debut happens, and you did great. Like it was a wonderful thing. Like you'll have occasional scuff, but overall it was a great experience. But then once that debut is over, you start to notice that viewership is starting to decline, and there isn't as many people in your chat, and it just feels barren, and it just gets lower and lower and lower until it finally kind of plateaus at like some point. And I'm like 95% sure that I'm like 100% sure that about 95% of VTubers that are on Twitch have experienced this. Because everyone just wants to see like the new model because it's curiosity, but then eventually viewership will decline because, well, they only know you for one stream, and then they just want to, and then they're going to move on to like, you know, either what they usually watch, or they're going to just not stick around. And that's perfectly normal. Like, it's just when you finally get past that valley, then that's when you really start to learn like how to grow. Because I fell for that. Because when I started streaming, like I already had like 50 followers before I even pressed play, and I was like on top of the world because I was like, oh yeah, I'm averaging like, you know, 10 viewers, like 15, like it's crazy. But then like after a couple weeks, then I started realizing, oh yeah, my viewership's now like at 5. So yeah, so guys, if you are starting off as a VTuber, yeah, don't get discouraged by that. Like, you just got to get past like that initial honeymoon phase, and then after that, like, it's just start learning and start applying. Oh, like what you learned.
Yeah, you definitely answered my one of the other questions I was going to ask, and I think sort of along the lines of another one.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, okay. My I'm sorry. My headphones shut off. I was yapping for so long that the automatic like sound thing turned off.
No, you're good. I was just saying that you answered one of my questions, and almost along with another one. During your journey as a VTuber, what are some things that you learned that you never realized as a fan?
I think if I had to boil it down to one thing, it would be that there is a lot of work to make a VTuber stream run smoothly. Whether it's the little guy to the to top of the world, like there's a ton of things that happen to make sure that stream goes smoothly. And that could be from setting and enforcing the rules for your channel, setting up, you know, your Twitch account with like third-party apps and bots to like give you special features for chat, like Tenga or Tangia, I think is the name. That one's you know, that allows you to play like green screen clips on your stream, sound alerts, etc. But also like, you know, learning how, like, also having to advertise your content, making your content, setting up times to do collabs. Like, you get the idea. Yeah. There's so much work that is put into streams, especially for bigger VTubers like Iron Mouse and Shy Lily. Like, there's so much behind the scenes work being done. There's just so much being done that like they have actual teams like helping them manage different parts of their content, from like modding, editing, advertisements, and heck, like if you're in like the corporate world, you also have like a team of like legal attorneys. Yep. Yeah.
Well, that's another.
It's just.
Keep going. I'll say after you finish.
Oh no! Like that's pretty much it.
I was gonna say like, going along with that. This is just your perspective. Like, it doesn't have to be like the main thing that everybody should follow. But with corporate and then indie VTubers, like, what do you think it's? I'm trying to say. Do you think it's a bit more better to be in a corporate group, like with Hololive, with Shoujo, hell, I don't want to say it, but with Niji Sanji, or just be indie, like with a small team, like with Vichiban, with them, that they're technically not a company, but they're just like 4 friends and a quote-unquote group that they have?
Well, I don't have much experience dealing with like corporate stuff, like if any at all. So this is just purely speculation. But I would say that it's really tough to say that like one is better than the other, mostly because with corporate, you have like multiple people or teams that can actually help you out to get projects done. But depending on who you sign up for, like you're limited in a few aspects, and plus, with more people and the bigger the organization, like the harder it is to like be flexible on projects or merch drop releases, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
On the indie side, like you are 100% in command, so you can go ahead and change anything on a dime. So like if you wanted to like do drawing streams, but then like, or you wanted to do like, you know, this type of merch, but then like you wanted to do something completely different like a few months from now, you can do that. Let's see, what's another good example? Like if you wanted to attend, if you had like plans to just attend like one con and set up a booth, but then you hear that like, oh, there's a con that's happening like in my like less than 40 miles away from like my section, and I want to attend though I don't have a booth, then you can do that too. You could just do it on a dime. The problem is that you don't have as much financial support, and you don't have that many people like running the projects for you. Plus, you don't get like any of the corporate benefits, like, you know, I assume like some agencies, they offer like health insurance and a bunch of other, you know, stuff that typical jobs are. Like basically the corporation is hiring you, but if you're an indie, then you are the boss. Like you are running the business. That is you. So yeah, it's just indie gives you a whole lot more freedom, but it gives you a lot more responsibility, while corporate gives you a whole lot less responsibility, but it doesn't give you that much flexibility.
Right. Yeah, because like with recently with Amelie, or Leah Lee, I think that's her new name. When she joined the Bishoujo not too long ago, she made a post saying how she almost had a moment where she would have quit VTubing because she had to deal with a lot of issues with merchandise with the company that she was working with, causing her so much trouble. Same thing with Bao, with her legal issues with another merchandise. And then I think with Cottontail, she also had that issue too. But at the same time, yeah, working with or being with a corporate, they also save you that kind of headache. But they also have with Hololive and Serious Fauna, where she graduated, and I don't know if it's true. There was people saying how she quit because disagreement with management. That it seemed like she wasn't a fan of what they were going with. There was either some people saying how they had to what was it like with idol, like they're slowly shifting back towards idol groups where they have them do concerts and stuff like that. And some people think that maybe that's the reason why Fauna left, because it was putting too much pressure on her that she didn't want to do that. Like, she does love singing, but that kind of side of the corporate group was not something that she planned to do. And both have their pros and cons. There's not really a safe side to go to in a way, because you might have one, like with Hololive, they also have their thing with people making things up about their talent, where they actually have a legal team where if you try to defame or say some crap, their lawyers will sue your ass to the ground because of the stuff that you say that could potentially cause that talent issues down the line. Or if you're indie, you either have to ignore it, hide it, or try to how do you call it?
Address it?
No, more like how do you say? Water down the fire, I guess, is a good example. Like, maybe somebody like a crazy fan or a stalker, especially with Camila and her issue with that one stalker, where she had to kind of either not go too much into detail, because it's crazy how indie could be a bit more dangerous than corporate, but at the same time, corporate could be more dangerous to your health mentally and physically, because with another JP member for Hololive, Chloe, she pretty much had to quit because she was going through some health stuff. And then I think 2 years ago with Sana, she had to quit because she had actual physical issues that was causing her a hard time to stream, because she tends to stream like about 8 hours long in a way, and I've caught I caught some of her streams, and she's definitely fun to watch. But after hearing what she had to go through, where she had to stop, kind of sucks, because there is a good thing about being a VTuber, but sometimes a bad thing about it. It sucks with Kiara, where she has her own private account where she like shows her face and stuff like that. But she had an issue, I think last year, where she had to deal with the stalker that she tried to get away from, that confronted her, and she had that panic attack. And now people are people who know what she looks like are actually good. That's a good thing too. They are being more protective towards her, and don't want her to either get caught up by that person again, or just any VTuber in general who shows their face in public, to like be wary about those kinds of crazy fans who could cause them problems. And that's what I like about VTubers, or people who just do VTubers and people who make content without showing their face, where they prefer to hide their identity, or with Zen, where she hides her voice, where it's best not to have people know who or what she sounds like, because privacy, their families and stuff like that, which I kind of agree.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, like when it comes to privacy, like I think that's like the core reason why like most people, including myself, like do choose VTubing, because yeah, like it's a way for us to like just go ahead and just be ourselves, and like, you know, we don't have to be self-conscious about it. But also, yeah, like, you know, streaming these days is, you know, a bit scary, like when it comes to like, you know, personal safety. And I think that's a whole, you know, another discussion of just like how, you know, crazy like the streaming business has been getting. But back to the corporate / like indie like versus thing. I think, yeah, like when it comes to corporations and talents, I think there are definitely some bad cases, which I'm not gonna talk about specifically, where the corporations like look at their talents as just, you know, another number, and like they have to meet quotas, like, you know, and they just treat it as like a normal job. But the truth of the matter is that like when it comes to, you know, being a talent or an idol or whatever, you know, or whatever you want to call it, is that people are interested in watching the talent because they are who they are, and they're just genuinely funny. They have a, you know, they like to look at their model too alongside of it, and like they have something that like people just enjoy watching. And I think that that's something that a lot of, well, I say a lot of, I mean like a handful of particular companies where it's just like, oh yeah, like they just don't care. They're just like, we just want a bottom line. We want to make quota. Like we want to, like we got to, you know, get all this stuff done. And they don't really think too much about like, well, wait, if this person doesn't sleep, then they're going to be tired on stream, and then like that'll eventually lead to like something, like some form of burnout, which is like either it could be a variety of things, like you know, they can lash out at like a internet troll. They could like they could just get really tired and fall asleep on stream, which I have seen that. And also like they could just get depressed or something. Like it's just there's a variety of ways that like someone can experience, you know, a burnout.
Mm-hmm.
But the good news is that I think we are starting to see a change. Well, we at least saw like a change of you know, of what it means to be like a corporation or an agency for VTubers in the last 2 years. And again, I'm not going to get into the details, but a gold standard, in my opinion, when it comes to like how an agency can treat talents is 100% Fishoujo.
Yes.
Like, I love the way that they did it because they essentially focused around the talent, and then the agency itself, from what I can see, is the support group. Like they are built around the talent. The talents aren't built around the corporation. So yeah, because they know that like people are only there to see that person. Like, you know, and a company like Fishoujo can exist and people can be Fishoujo fans. Mm-hmm. However, the way that people are going to become Fishoujo fans is if they like all or a good chunk of the talents. So if they focus their efforts on the talents themselves and let them do what they want to do, then that allows like a growth in community and, you know, and just more people like, you know, funneling over like to your talents. Mm-hmm. And that's why like I see so many people like just trying their hardest to like apply and get into Fishoujo, and like we've seen like big indie talents like go over to Fishoujo because they realize, oh yeah, like if a company like them is able to support their endeavors and they're not going to interfere with their creative process and like their plans, then yeah, why wouldn't you do it? Mm-hmm. Like it's not really rocket science. Yeah. And heck, like it's even appealed to me like at times where I'm just like, yeah, I wouldn't mind like doing that, but the truth is that the reason why I don't go out of my way to apply is because, well, I still have a lot to learn. Right. Like I have a lot to learn on how streaming works, how to make content, how to like balance the schedule. Yeah, it's just there's a lot, but yeah, I think I guess back to bring it back around. So when it comes to being a VTuber, I think indie by itself is better than corporate, but don't dismiss corporate, because if the corporation is willing to be your support in the matter, then like, and not like your boss, right? then yeah, I would say corporate is better.
Yeah, because they definitely do have benefits, both sides, both corporate and indie. You just that you kind of have to be careful where it draws a line.
Right.
And I like, even though like for me, I am a VTuber, but I prefer to record than stream, because one, I don't think I'm cut out to do streaming. Like I wouldn't mind just hopping on somebody else's stream just to chat for a bit, but doing that on my own specifically, I don't think I have. I mean, I have the equipment and stuff like that, but for me, I don't think I'd be more suited for that. I prefer just to record than anything else. And it's not a knock to anybody who does streaming, because I think people who do the streaming thing have more talent than I do, and talking more with their audience, or doing stuff while they play video games, draw, sing, or stuff like that. Because for me, I can talk to a certain degree where, let's say, there's a game that I'm playing that's probably old that, I know facts about these games that probably somebody that doesn't know or never noticed, that I'll talk about it, explain it for a bit. All right, back to the game. Talk about something that's going on. Oh, look, there's another fact. Back to the game over and over. But there'll be times where I'll talk for a bit, just stay quiet, because I'm either too focused on the game or I really got nothing else to say. That I just rather have the game talk for itself.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, like streaming and recording are two completely different animals, and I tried doing recording, but like, yeah, it's just me being as picky as I am, like when it comes to details, yeah, it's just I can't read lines that well. But when it comes to like me streaming, like if it's just a casual conversation, then yeah, I can hold a conversation.
Well, then speaking of which, is there stuff about gaming that isn't? I mean, is there other stuff that you're not interested? I mean, fuck. Is there other stuff that you're into that isn't gaming related?
Yes, actually. So really, I only have like one big interest that's like really outside of gaming, and that is I am a huge music lover.
Oh.
Yes. So, one thing that I did a lot before I started getting into streaming was I collected vinyls, and I would just toy around in like how music is made.
Oh.
Yeah, and in fact, and this is actually a fact that I don't really tell often, and I think I haven't even told stream yet. But when I was in school, I actually used to play trumpet for about 8 years. Yeah, but the only thing is that I haven't really picked it up in about like 7 years, so like I'm way out of practice. Like I don't even think I can get past like maybe mid octave. But yeah. However, I have been interested in like learning like other instruments as well. Like I've been interested in like trying guitar and maybe getting into that. But I also used to play around with like audio software as well. Like one software that I messed around with when I was in high school was Fruity Loops, and it was interesting. And like I was trying to like learn how to like create beats, like how to just create like tempos, how like each individual module worked. But unfortunately, it was just too much for me to learn at that time. Plus, I'm not paying $300 to save my project file. So yeah, I was like, yeah, no, I'm already broke. I'm going into college. Be gone. I'm not forking over an extra $300 when I'm already going to be like thousands of dollars in debt.
Well, actually, wait. What are you going to college for, or if you already graduated?
Oh, I already finished school a while ago, but I originally went to school for computer science, but then like halfway through, I just dropped it because I just didn't really like the appeal of working in computer science. Mm-hmm. And then I just switched over to a business degree.
Well, but, I was gonna say, if you didn't do VTubing or making memes and stuff like that, is that gonna be a job that you were gonna do instead, or was it something else?
Yeah. Well, the thing is that like, and anyone who has ever gone through college will tell you this, like, unless if you're like the 5% of people that went in like at the age of 5 going like, oh, I wanted to be a medical doctor. And that is, most people that go into college, they have a general idea of what they probably want to do, but they're not exactly sure. And for me, I was the same way. Like, I was like, oh, I really love electronics. Like, I have an interest in computers. So I thought, yeah, you know what? I wouldn't mind learning how to code and like be a computer scientist. Mm-hmm. And it was good for a while, and then I got through like the calculus portions, and then I got to data structuring, and then I was like, I can't do this because like, let me put it to you this way. I had a project for data structure, and I went into the computer lab as soon as they opened at like 7 in the morning.
Damn.
And then, yeah. So, well, because it was a big project. So okay. I go ahead and I get started on the project, and I don't really have a view of the outside. There's like barely any windows in the computer lab. Mm-hmm. And then once I finished my project, I went outside and it was dark, and I'm like, wait, how long was I in there? And then I look at my phone, and I was in there for a solid 14 hours.
Holy fuck, dude.
Yeah, like I was in there the entire time, and then it was at that moment where I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be a computer scientist. I need to see the sun.
Did you like, even eat or what?
No, like I did have a lunch. Like okay. I did bring lunch, but yeah, like just in there the entire day, just scratching my head like on how coding works. Like coding in C is difficult. It's very difficult for me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But learning data structure is a whole nother problem because it's like learning how data is actually stored in a hard drive. Like it's ridiculous. Yeah, so then I just went to business and I was like, yeah, you know what, this is way better, and I could actually I could solve practical problems.
Well, I want to say is I wanted to ask you like way in the beginning how long you wanted to do this interview, because I didn't want to hold you up too long like how I did with Tanix, where it was literally a 4-hour conversation recording session that it became 6 in the morning.
I don't mind, but yeah, if you wanted to like just ask like a couple more questions, like that's fine too, because I definitely have to get a few things done in about like half an hour or so.
Well, luckily I have only one last thing to ask you anyway, so we're literally close to the end.
Okay, shoot.
And I should have told this to Tanix, but at the time I didn't think of it. What are 3 things that you're grateful for?
Ooh. 3 things that I'm grateful for. How do I boil this down? Well, I have to say, there's so many things that I'm just absolutely grateful for, because like I've had a ton of like really great moments when I was streaming and doing all this. And then I had like some extremely low moments that put me in such a funk that I thought I was wasting my time and learning how to do streaming and editing and all that. So, but the 3 things that managed to like get me through all of this, and it's gonna sound so cheesy, and I apologize in advance, YouTube Shadow, for this, but I'm very grateful to my family, just all my friends that I've met, like, and have met, and also just like all the people that took the time that just like support me, like, you know, whether they were there for one stream or like multiple streams, or even just like watching like content, or even just liking a post on Twitter. Because the thing is that my family and friends have been very supportive these past few years, and they have given me like just so much advice, like at like my lowest times, like whether it was like personal like drama like happening on top of this, or just like having severe burnout because I was so head focused on something, and then just like bashing my head against the wall because I'm like, why isn't this working? But it's just, but the thing is though, is that like, like my family and friends, my viewership, like the truth is that like, and at some point everyone will realize this, but like the people that watch you and support you, like they're not just there to like just give you an ear, but like they want you to succeed, like, and that's the thing of like, it really does like just build me up, and it tells me, just when someone that's with me is just telling me, hey, you're doing your best, and that's just amazing. Like just having people behind you saying that they believe that you can do it, like, bro, that shit could power the sun. and even having like just 1 or 3 viewers in my chat and just watching me is just such a great feeling. Like, and I know how many people who stream on Twitch and they have like 0 viewership, and they're just like, I will never, like, and they'll say like, oh, I will never get anywhere, like what's the point in doing all this? And it's like, but the thing is though, is that like, if you have like 1 person in your chat, or like, or 3 or 5 or just any number, like, you really should like just absolutely appreciate them. Like, I appreciate every single person that comes into my chat or my Discord, or just interacts like with what I'm doing, because it just, because I just know deep down that they're not obligated to see me. They chose to see me. They chose to watch me. They chose to chat with me. And it's that motivation that really just like keeps me going. Just like, just seeing that, like, because like here's the thing, right? Like everyone likes to compare themselves to like the big streamers. Like when they're first starting off, it's just like, oh, I will never be like Ludwig. I will never be as big as like Dog VA, or in VTubers' minds, like I will never be as big as Iron Mouse or Shy Lily or Sayu. But the truth of the matter is that like every single one of those people had a starting point, and they were probably averaging like maybe 5 viewers like for weeks, if not months. And not only that, but I remember Giga was talking to me about this, and it was when she started streaming, she had a friend tell her that like, oh well, I think you're really funny, you should try to do streaming. And I'm probably butchering the story, so like if you guys want the full details, like go ahead and check out like her description of it. But she was even saying that like for a while, like she was like averaging like maybe like 10 to 15 for like I think a year. And granted, take it with a grain of salt, I don't know the exact analytics, but I do know that like it was fairly like average to like what me and a bunch of other and a bunch of my friends have been dealing with. And it's just like, yeah, it's like everyone has to start somewhere.
Yep.
And so that's why I'm just grateful for my viewership. And combine that with like having family members, like whether it's just a family member or the whole family, and then having like people that you met or you have been friends with, and they're just like, yeah, we want to see you, like we want to see you succeed. And I'm just like, hell yeah, I want to keep going. Yep. It keeps me going. So yeah.
Those are very good ones. Yeah, and I definitely can relate, because I've had moments where there would be like maybe 1 or 2 people commenting on a video saying that, oh, they enjoyed the video, that I'm gonna make it big, or they can't wait to see me grow. It definitely gives you that motivation that not a lot of people will realize, because even if you get that one view for that one video or that one viewer, it definitely helps you out, because that you're reaching out to somebody who probably just likes what you do, and they want to keep on watching until, who knows, more people start following you or start discovering your content.
Yeah, exactly. Like, just having like even just one subscriber like on YouTube, joining your channel, it tells me it's like I'm doing something that someone likes, and I'm like, okay, let's do it again, and then just keep getting better and better at it. And yeah, and there are going to be shortcomings where you'll have like a dip in viewership, or like you're gonna lose subscribers. Like I've had that happen. But yeah, I mean, it's just like just the simple notion of like someone dropping a like, and they're looking at your video, and I just made someone laugh, I entertained someone, or like I gave an avenue for someone to just like chat with. And yeah, like that really is like just such a great feeling. So yeah.
And I lied. I got one more question.
Okay.
Where can people find you?
Where can people find me? Okay. You can find me at twitch.tv/overkill_switch. And also, I also have a YouTube channel as well. That was youtube.com/@overkill_switch. I'm there. I'm gonna try and upload more YouTube content, hopefully in the future. I'm going through a lot of personal stuff right now, so like schedule's pretty heavy. But I do stream Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday around 7 p.m. So yeah, if you're ever looking for someone to watch at the late night hours, you know where to find me.
All right. Thank you again, man, for doing this interview with me.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
And I'll definitely send you the link once I finish all this editing because it's gonna take me a while to do it.
All right. Oh, I'm gonna cringe at like how I sound.
You're fine.
Okay.
Thank you again, man.
Yeah, no problem. All right.
This was definitely a lot of fun to talk with him. I do like to ask other VTubers or content creators if they want to do the interview. It does take some time for me to kind of get these kinds of things to happen because mostly I have to wait on the person to either respond or to see if they're not busy with something, because sometimes scheduling is a bit tough to do. With Tanix, it was a bit easier because since I record late at night and she lives in Australia, nighttime for me is daytime for her. And with Overkill, we got lucky to do it on a Saturday, especially in the afternoon. But I also didn't want to take up too much of his time because he still had things to do. Yeah, scheduling wise tends to be a bit tough to figure out. And at the same time, I do want to get a bit more creative with my questions because I don't want to repeat the same thing over and over with each person I talk to. And at the same time, I do want to come up with things that they probably haven't heard, or probably just other things in general that may relate to their I guess their model, who they are, the games that they play, and all in all, like their point of view. Some things that other people probably might have something different compared to like my own, or to the audience, or just I don't know, anything I believe that is more interesting to hear from them. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this interview I had.